Finally, we are at my favorite road trip. A series of bucket list worthy spots leading up to my birthday, the Big 30. We started the trip off on Route 66, heading to Albuquerque, the home of the most beloved anti hero Walter White and his sidekick Jesse, played by my favorite Aaron Paul. The Embudito Canyons, besides being pretty, were also home to our beloved Inspector Hank. The owner of Walt's house is tired of cleaning pizza from her rooftop and has put up signage to stay away. But the car wash Skyler ran and Los Pollos Hermanos, or Twisters, have displayed memorabilia proudly from the show. Our stay was at a hotel on the National Registry of Historic Places. We later found out that many of the places on the registry are rumored to be haunted. Our choice of Indian food for the night was not to Shashank's liking, but we did enjoy downtown Albuquerque at night. The next day, a quick stop at the Three Sisters volcanoes before we began to glimpse snow capped peaks. This meant Arizona was near. We refueled at Flagstaff and headed straight to the red rocks of Sedona. Those who believe come here to meditate and bathe in the spiritual energy of the vortices. We came here for the hike. Freezing rain made the 4 miles to Devil's Bridge quite the experience. Only a 500-foot gain towards the end of the trail, and a long line to click this picture right here. I would suggest a drive to the airport lookout to soak in a pleasurable panorama before you leave Sedona and to make your trip complete. A beer at the Cowboy Club wouldn't hurt either, but if you try the prickly pear fries to test if you like the taste of cactus, remember, cactus tastes kinda sour. And though vegetarian, it's not always a great idea to have it as a main course. On our way to National Park number 10, we made a stop before Winona and visited the Meteor crater. I bought a piece of meteorite to take back home with me. The impact site of a small celestial body makes you and your troubles seem very small. But that did not stop me and Sushant from having an all out war on how to share the medium fries we had just bought from McDonald's. Handy tip: have a stasher bag full of goodies when you travel to remote national parks. There are no gas stations close to the west entrance of the Petrified Forest. We drove the 50 miles across the park and beyond the painted desert on a needle precariously perched on empty. The park itself was gorgeous. Wood turns to stone after centuries of pressure, essentially tree sized fossils. And the surrounding landscape, once fertile enough to grow a forest, but now desolate, shows layer upon layer of color, thanks to its metallic deposits and volcanic ash. A tapestry of space and time. The next stretch of the drive to Monument Valley was quite lonely. It was just us on the road as we entered the Navajo Nation. The landscape was wild and wondrous. The only other place I have visited till date that comes close to this otherworldly peace is perhaps Death Valley. Our stay was at the View Hotel. At $200 a night, this is more than worth the cost and the drive. Every room comes with this view, and if you're extraordinarily lucky like us, you get to see this in red and white too. A trip into the valley has to be supervised by a native guide, and they're busy all year round. Book in advance and pay extra to make sure you don't get stuck in an open jeep when it's snowing. We were happy campers at the first few viewpoints. Sushant did the John Wayne photo, but the cold was starting to get to me. Luckily, we got promoted to a van and had some Navajo fry bread to keep our spirits up. I'm so glad I decided to stick around because the remainder of the tour was perfect. Not only did our guide suggest the right camera angles, but he played this tune. I'll let you decide how that makes you feel. Our sojourn to the Monument Valley was almost complete, and it would not have been complete without this hotel. We definitely recommend staying if you're visiting. Next day, we were headed to Page, on our way back from the snow to the sun. Of course, we started at the Horseshoe Bend, which did not meet my expectations of grandeur. It did look like the wallpaper though. I strongly recommend the Glen Canyon Overlook or the Waweep Overlook. Our main attraction in Page was to visit the Antelope Canyon. This was supposed to be our second serious hike of the trip, but in keeping with the rest of this trip, it was just a walk in the park. The upper trails may be a bit more of a challenge, but the lower ones were very easy to explore. You have to turn the brightness of your photos way up for these iconic canyon shots. Wallpaper again. Finally, we were at the end of our escapade. Of course, we still had a 14-hour drive in front of us, but the pit stops at Bombay Dhaba in Gallup and the Shere Punjab Dhaba in Tukumkeri were excellent boosters for the mood and the stomach. We made it home in time to bring in the new year and the beginning of the rest of our lives. No bucket is large enough for me.